In a quiet village nestled among towering mountains, there lived an old man named Sam. Sam was known throughout the village for his wisdom, which he had gained from years of experience and life lessons. Despite his poverty and simple lifestyle, Sam was considered a go-to person for advice on life and its challenges. He lived in a small hut on the outskirts of the village and owned a small flock of sheep that he tended to daily. One evening, as Sam sat in front of his hut enjoying the sunset, a young man in his 20s named George approached him. George was an ambitious young man, but he felt defeated and frustrated after several failed attempts to achieve his dreams. He had dreamed of becoming a successful merchant, but all his ventures had ended in failure, leaving him in debt and disheartened. George sat down beside Sam and said in a sad voice, "Uncle Sam, I've tried over and over to succeed in life, but I fail every time. I feel like I don't deserve anything in this life. Maybe I'm just not cut out for success." Sam looked at George with a kind expression and said, "Come with me, my boy. I want to show you something." Slowly, Sam stood up and invited George to follow him to the sheep pen near the hut. When they reached the pen, Sam took a small lamb and placed it in front of George. He then handed George a rope and asked him to tie the lamb to a nearby tree. George did as he was told, then looked at Sam, puzzled. Sam said, "Now, step back and watch what happens." George stepped back, and after a few moments, the little lamb began to struggle against the rope. It pulled and tugged with all its might until it finally broke free and ran away. Sam smiled and said, "Did you see what happened? The little lamb didn't give up, even though the rope was strong. It struggled until it freed itself." George looked at Sam with admiration, but the old man wasn't finished yet. Sam took another lamb, this one bigger and stronger, and tied it to the same tree. He then asked George to step back again. This time, the larger lamb tried to break free, but after several attempts, it gave up and sat down by the tree, motionless. Sam asked George, "Why do you think the bigger lamb didn't free itself while the smaller one did?" George thought for a moment and then said, "Because the little lamb didn't know how strong the rope was, so it struggled with all its might. But the bigger lamb realized how difficult it was and gave up." Sam nodded in agreement and said, "Exactly. Sometimes our prior knowledge of difficulties makes us give up before we even try. But the little lamb taught us that struggle and perseverance are the keys to success, even when the obstacles seem insurmountable." He then added, "George, life is like this rope. Sometimes we see the challenges as too big, so we give up before we even try. But the truth is, we don't know our true strength until we face those challenges.